Hi KK, it's wonderful to go down memory lane of IIT Bombay with you. Let me set the stage for our conversation today by describing how it was when I joined IIT Bombay and you arrived a year later, over 5 decades back. For those who weren't born then, it was a completely different era run by technology of its time. Imagine no cell phones, no internet or Wi-Fi, one rotary-style phone shared by all of us. Nevertheless, friendships were forged over dosas at RK or lassi at bhaiyas at Y Point, long walks by Powai Lake or to Chinmananda Ashram, early morning bike rides to RA Milk Colony to have that delicious coffee milkshake, or walks to Vihar Lake on the pipeline. Reminiscing about those days brings up a mix of nostalgia and the realization of how much life has changed since. I look back fondly at that chapter of my life. We formed deep bonds through late-night chats, shared struggles in the safe haven of Ladies' Hostel, as it was called back then, our home far away from home. During the early years, we had curfew at 10 p.m., and the chowkidar would lock the iron grill. It was only a few years later that a large lounge was built on the floor above our dining hall. We got to enjoy some music on a state-of-the-science sound system, using long-playing records, of course. During our time, we were less than 50 girls. I remember some rooms in my wing were still unoccupied. Despite being one of 4 girls in my class of around 20, I never ever faced hostility from any quarter. We came from all across India with a goal to leave with a degree in science or technology. We were united in our determination to excel. Despite the endless assignments and open book exams, we thought we were invincible. And there was always the Mood Indigo days to look forward to. One of the most enjoyable parts of living on campus was being in the company of such a smart group of students from all over India. One was constantly learning something or the other, not only from our teachers, but also from our peers. Music, the Hindustani classical genre, had been an integral part of my childhood growing up. I was so happy to discover there was a music club at IIT Bombay. 𝘍𝐴𝑗ℎ𝑗 was our beloved music teacher. One memory that stands out is being part of the choir in 1972, the year Prime Minister Indira Gandhi was the chief guest for the convocation ceremony. We sang the institute song Antarmam Viksit Kar, a song composed by Nobel laureate Rabindranath Tagore.
Wow, Anjali, it must have been great to sing for the Prime Minister of India, and that too, Indira Gandhi. I was allowed into the hall. I was there. I managed to see her at close quarters. I'm quite thrilled with that.
Remember Rohini Godbole? A brilliant scientist. She joined IIT with you in 72, and she was in physics and the silver medalist of her class.
I remember her coming up the stairs and rattling off the Jacobi transformation. I was just blown away by how brilliant she was. She was talking to a friend, like a conversation. Her work was mentioned in Kaun Banega Crorepati. These are the books that she has edited. It's exciting to talk about our friendship from as far back as 1972. If I remember correctly, there were about 35 young ladies in the ladies' hostel when I arrived. I was excited and thrilled, made friends right away. Senior students like you helped me to find my way around. The math department was somewhat more intimidating at first. I was the only girl in my class, and my classmates were too shy to sit next to me at first. I soon made friends. The professors were always good to me. They helped me in whatever way they could. Loved riding down to RA Milk Colony and Juhu Beach, which included your husband Nalin and my husband Pradeep. I learned to ride a bike in IIT. Vidya, our champion bike rider, thought it was totally unacceptable that I didn't know how to ride a bike. In 1973, this German magazine visited IIT. They interviewed me, Asha and Achla, and wrote about us in their magazine. Asha Kumari Koshi from Kerala in mathematics and Achla Dalal. This photograph was taken by the magazine. They wrote about the general situation for women in India and how things had improved. I remember going to play badminton in the gym the first time. IIT went on to create a girls' team, which you were part of, in badminton, table tennis, and we went to the inter-IIT meets in Kharagpur, Kanpur, Madras and Bombay. We won gold for badminton and table tennis. Mr. Pramanik was our badminton coach. He was a great coach. I was awarded a citation, and it reads, honors him with its highest award, I was keen to participate in every aspect of the social activities in IIT. The Dramatic Society asked me to act in its 75th annual production, 𝐉𝐚𝐥𝐻𝐵. When I agreed to do the role of Mansi in the play, I didn't realize that the play was to be staged in 𝘃𝐻𝐶𝐻 Auditorium in downtown Bombay. Tickets had been sold and the audience was from the play-going crowd in Bombay. The show was sold out. Needless to say, I lost a few pounds from anxiety over this, but the play was well received. The following year, I acted in the play Our Town, also at the 𝘃𝐻𝐶𝐻 Auditorium. My final year in IIT was 78. I left the ladies' hostel on the morning of my wedding day, went straight to the President Hotel in Colaba, where my family, mom and siblings, were staying. My friend Rani from my Kerala college days accompanied me. I was married that afternoon. Here you are at my wedding. IIT Bombay set me off on my journey into life with confidence. I was able to fly into a world which opened many doors to me. Special thanks to Professor Jain. Here he is at my wedding. Mrs. Jain, Anjali Shanker, my mom. Thanks also to Dr. Batra, who was my Ph.D. supervisor. These are my publications, my Ph.D. thesis.
Let's share with the listeners a little bit about ourselves, our family, childhood influences, the pre-IIT part. So my grandfather, Sri V.D. Zadhu, was a big influence in my life. A century ago, he traveled to Harvard University from Kashmir on a scholarship to study civil engineering. He returned to Kashmir, where he rose to be chief engineer of the state. He placed great value on education and his daughters attended college. My mother was a trailblazer. She was one of the first women in our community to go to college back in the 1930s. And she served as a role model for me, as did my aunts. I spent my childhood years in Khadakwasla, where my father was a mathematics professor at the National Defence Academy, NDA, and I studied at St. Joseph's Convent in Pashan, Pune. In high school, Mrs. Mani was my math teacher. She showed me how math helps us understand numbers and how numbers help us understand the world. After high school, I joined Fergusson College for my BSc in physics. A year later, I received the National Science Talent Fellowship from the National Council of Educational Research and Training, India. That was a big boost to my confidence. I followed my passion to pursue basic science rather than get into medicine or engineering. And during my BSc years, I got a stipend of rupees 100 a month. Later at IIT Bombay, it was rupees 250 a month. It was indeed a princely sum at that time. At Fergusson, we formed a group study session and covered the Feynman lectures in physics. I was hooked to physics and there was no turning back.
I remember coming to your wedding, Anjali, in 1977. You and Nalin were so kind to me. Your parents, your grandparents, your grandfather was welcoming. I had a wonderful time. About my pre-IIT days and my family. This is my grandfather's family. My grandfather, my grandmother. These are my grandfather's mother and father. This is my grandfather's grandmother. This is my grandfather's youngest sister. She was a member of the Royal College of Physicians, received her medical degree from Vellore Medical College. These are my mother's parents. My mom's mom was a very strong lady. I am named after her. I thank my parents for seeing the absolute value in a girl child. In a society where a boy child is valued, my parents gave their girls the same value. My father taught me math well. He was instrumental in my coming to IIT Bombay. I completed my O-levels in Ceylon at that time. Now it's Sri Lanka. I completed my undergraduate degree from St. Joseph's College in Ernakulam, Kerala. My undergraduate experience was great. I was on the basketball team. I was a captain of the Kerala State and University teams in 1970. This article came in the Malayalam Manorama, Kumari Koshi, captain. The headline here says, St. Joseph's wins third crown. We won 3 titles in a row. I was on the college band. I played the drums. Emil Isaacs from the elite aces who used to be the band for Usha Uddu trained us. This is our basketball team with Sister Carmelita, who was our mentor, coach and manager. This is me and my sister. Class of 72, Sister Emmeline was the head of the math department. She was my best friend. I had the pleasure of meeting Sister Emmeline after 52 years in December of 24. We were able to host her at the Cricket Club of India. That's Pradeep, his mother, Anjali, when did you last go back to IIT, and did you get a chance to see the old hostel?
In 2014, the Department of Chemistry celebrated its Golden Jubilee by holding a 2-day symposium. Several retired faculty and staff and former students attended the event. I'm so glad I went for it. So much had changed, and yet so much was still the same. They were tearing down the hostel we lived in and building a larger hostel to accommodate the current needs of students. Crocodiles can still be spotted basking in the middle of the lake. Our batchmate, Ali Contractor, was now Dean of IIT Bombay, and it was great to return to campus, connect with so many, including Surekha Zingde, Jaya Iyer, and Yasmin Jayatir. I realized each of us had taken turns at critical junctures, made distinct choices, and that in turn had shaped our journey. And I was so happy to meet Professor Deb and his former students, particularly Geeta Mahajan. It was like a mini reunion. The motto of IIT Bombay is Jnanam Paramam Dhyeyam, which translates to knowledge, the supreme goal. As I've been chatting with you, KK, I realized that motto and the legacy of IIT Bombay has been a North Star for me. And I want to end this trip down memory lane with this final bit of advice to all our young listeners. Always focus on where you're headed, but now and then look back and see how far you've come. Make the most of your life on campus and beyond. All the best.